Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jameson here. So I wanted to take just a couple of minutes here to just talk about two things that I think are really important. I'll try to make this really quick. Number one, I've had a lot of questions. Hey, Jameson, so I'm confused. Are you running in District 8 or in District 2? The reason there's confusion is because I live in Conroe, and I started out running in Congressional District 8. But as some of you know, those of you that stay in the know with what's going on in Texas, as well as the rest of the nation, Texas is adding 2 new congressional districts, and in that process, the districts naturally had to change shape. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of gerrymandering that's been going on, and you're going to hear a lot of Republicans say that it's an attempt to keep Texas red. It's not. This gerrymandering is actually protecting RINOs, not true conservative Texans. Okay, and so I think that is something that's very important to point out. But in this process, where I happen to live in Conroe, which was previously District 8, is now District 2. And this is important because from the very beginning, I have been very vocal about I believe that a congressman should live in the district that they're representing. They should represent the district that they live in. Because how are you supposed to say that you represent a district, but you're not a resident of that district? Right, so that's been very important, and so we're trying to do everything that we can to make sure that we run our campaign with integrity. We always do the right thing, regardless of expediency or cost. And so, because of that, I am now running in Congressional District 2. So I didn't switch districts; the districts switched me. And so I wanted to make sure that I cleared that up. And the thing that I want to make sure that everybody is aware of, and why I say that this process is not to protect conservatives and to keep Texas red, but it is actually to protect RINOs, is because Texas is not red. And I'm going to prove it to you with some facts. So Texas has had 36 congressional districts. Out of those 36 congressional districts, only 13, and that's being nice, only 13 have had true conservative representation. And guess who's not included in those 13? District 8, who was previously Kevin Brady, who is retiring at the end of his term, and Congressional District 2, who is currently represented by Dan Crenshaw. And Dan Crenshaw has been a disappointment for a lot of people. And I'm never going to attack him as a person. I'm never going to attack his character. I actually fully appreciate how he has served our country, being a Navy SEAL. I appreciate that. And I know that his team is going to see this video. And so let me be the first from my campaign to say, hey, we appreciate you. We appreciate your service to this country. That's not what's in question. What's in question are the decisions that he's made in D.C. See, I no longer believe that Dan Crenshaw represents Congressional District 2, Texas, America, or my Texas conservative values. So, and I think this is important, and that's going to bring me to the second topic here today, which is my fight to restore liberty and get DC out of DC. DC, Dan Crenshaw, right? We want to fire DC from DC. Anyway, I thought it was catchy. Maybe you guys don't. I don't know. But we want to fire DC from DC. So ultimately, here's the thing. 435 voting members of the House, only 40, and again, that's being nice, only 40 have true conservative representation. We're in the position that we're in. We're about to lose our country. Our liberties are being stripped out from underneath our noses with all of these mandates and everything else. This is happening not because of Democrats. I know you're like, oh, Jameson, you're out of your mind. It's all Democrats' fault. It's all the Democrats. No, it's not. It's not. And here's whose fault it is. And I want you to consider this. Well, number one, there are many people that still identify as Democrats that still think this is JFK's Democrat Party. It's not the same Democrat Party. But here's the thing. I fully expect Democrats to act and vote like Democrats. That's never going to change. We have a problem, though, when Republicans like Dan Crenshaw act and vote like Democrats. We are in this mess that we're in. We are where we are as a nation. We're on the brink of losing our liberty to this globalist Marxist agenda, not because of Democrats, but because of Republicans that won't stand up to the tyranny. And they won't stand up because they're part of the problem. They go to DC, they go into the swamp, they get wined and dined, and then they wind up being a turncoat to the people of their district. And so I want to talk about a couple of things, and we'll wrap up here in just a minute. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things. And, when we look at Dan Crenshaw, okay, Dan Crenshaw on September the 4th, he voted to sign women up for the draft. And he voted for red flag laws in the National Defense Authorization Act. Okay, that was on September 24th. And then you had on December 22nd of last year, he voted for the so-called COVID relief bill. It had $1.4 trillion in special interest spending. And then, and I'll give you one other example. On March 14th of last year, he voted for the gag and vote for it, small business killing coronavirus emergency legislation that we're still feeling the effects of today. And I will put his entire voting record down in the comments below. But here's the point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make here is that our campaign, if we're gonna win this fight to restore liberty, refund the police, and make America America again, if we're gonna win this fight to fire DC from DC, we're going up against millions of dollars of swamp money, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna need your help. I can't do it alone. Our campaign team can't do it alone, and they're doing a phenomenal job. But we can't do it alone. It's going to take every single one of us, all of the conservative patriots, banding together, locking arms, and willing to go after this thing, doing whatever it takes, because freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free. And so we have got to get out there. We've got to vote, and don't fall for with what happened in 2020, and I'm not going to, because this is live, I'm not going to say this. I can't, I'm at the office, so I can't really bleep it out. But we all know what happened in 2020. They want us to think that our vote doesn't count. Now, I'm not saying that I disagree with you. We need to do a forensic audit of every single state. Heck, the audit here in Texas is a joke. They're only auditing certain counties. No, we need to audit the entire flipping state. But we need to do a forensic audit from coast to coast. I agree 100%. And I think that, and I know that if we do that, we're going to see what we all know. Dan Crenshaw disagrees with you, though. So last week I actually posted a video of him at a fundraiser in Illinois where he's saying that if you believe, right, conservative or not, if you believe that Trump lost the election illegitimately, you're living in a pipe dream. Let me ask you a question. Does he still represent you? Does he represent your values? Does he sound like a conservative? Does he sound like a patriot? Conservative or not, does he just sound like a patriot? If the answer is no, then I need your help. I want to ask that you prayerfully consider making a contribution to the campaign. Again, we're going against millions of dollars in swamp money. We are a true grassroots campaign. There's no way that we're going to win this fight unless we, the people, band together. And one of the best ways that we can do that, whether you live in the district, in Texas, or somewhere else in another state, one of the best ways you can do that is to make a contribution. So I'm going to ask that if you can, to make a $10 monthly recurring contribution. You can go to JamesonEllis.com. I'll also drop that in the comments below after we're done with this live video. I'll drop that in the comments below. If you can't do $10, totally understandable. Right? I'm not going to be like Dan Crenshaw and take your donation money and ask for you to give money you might not have just so I can go spend it on limousines and 5-star hotels. Go look at his FEC report. Very eye-opening. But I'm not going to do that. Okay? But we need small contributions from more people if we're going to win this fight. So whether it's $5, we're asking a minimum of $10. If you can do 20 or 30 or 50 or 100, do that. But something, start with what you have. Because if we don't all step up to the plate, and this is the last thing that I'm going to say. So we have to start doing everything that we can to wake people up. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo every year takes about 30,000 volunteers, and they show up in droves. It takes 30,000 volunteers in order to make that happen. But you know how many volunteers the Trump campaign had last year? Less than 1,500. Guys, we have a priority problem. And if we don't fix this problem and we don't red pill people, we don't start waking people up, nothing's going to change. And before you know it, we're going to be living in the divided states of America instead of the United States of America, if you can even call it America at that point. So again, I need your help. The best way right now in this moment that you can help me get to Congress, help me fire DC from DC, is to go to JamesonEllis.com and make a contribution. And then I want to invite you to pay attention to my FEC reports. And I know I said one last thing ago, but let me just throw one last thing out there. I'm also probably the only candidate that's ever going to look you in the eye and tell you, don't believe a word I say. Oh, Jameson, why would you tell me that? Because that's the problem. All of these candidates and politicians, they promise you the world. They tell you what you want to hear. You vote for them, but then they go to DC and they vote the exact opposite of what you hired them, for. So I want to invite you to reach out to me. Get to know me. Meet with me one-on-one. I've met with several of you one-on-one. Invite me into your homes. You get 10 to 20 of your friends and family together. I'll come into your homes. I want to get to know you, and I want you to be able to look me in the eye and know that I am exactly who I say I am, and that I am not going to turn my back on your vote. So I want to invite you to do that. You can go to my website, JamesonEllis.com, scroll down to the very bottom, and you're going to see my phone number on there. Text me. I want to meet with you. Good luck getting Crenshaw to do that. So anyways, that's going to be it for today. Love you guys. Again, make a contribution, JamesonEllis.com. I'll drop that in the link below. Also, I will drop Crenshaw's voting record down below as well. Thank you for those of you that are supporting the campaign, either being part of our grassroots volunteer army or you have been making the contribution, financial contribution. Thank you so much, because your generosity and your audaciousness, it is making a difference. And so those of you that have not done any of those things yet, I want to encourage you, prayerfully consider doing those and join us in the fight to restore liberty, refund the police. Let's make America America again. Love you guys. God bless.